Hello, everyone. Have you ever looked at your reflection in something shiny and curved? Like the back of a spoon or maybe a holiday ornament, and just thought, that looks weird. Your face might look all stretched out or maybe completely squished. And sometimes you might even be looking at yourself totally upside down. It's a really strange effect, right? But I promise you, it's not magic. It's actually some really cool physics. So today, we're going to be detectives. We're going to investigate this mystery and uncover the simple, beautiful rules that explain how light behaves when it hits a curved surface. Ready? Let's get into it. So to get us started, let's meet Mina. She's here at a science center, standing in front of those classic funhouse mirrors. And as you can see, she is completely confused. In one mirror, her face is just huge. It's magnified and seems to be jumping right out at her. But then she looks at the one right next to it, and there's her brother, totally flipped on his head. His feet are up where his head should be. Mina's confusion is exactly what we're here to figure out. How can just changing the shape of a mirror create such a wild, crazy effect on a reflection? Now, you really don't need a funhouse to see this stuff in action. Actually, the key to understanding all of this is probably in your kitchen drawer right now. I'm talking about a plain old shiny spoon. Seriously, if you have one nearby, go ahead and pause this for a second and grab it. It's the perfect little laboratory for what we're talking about today. Go on, take a look. You're holding a physics lesson right in your hand. Okay, got it? Now look closely. First, look into the bowl part of the spoon, the side you'd scoop with. What do you see? Your reflection is upside down, right? It's inverted. Now slowly turn that spoon over and look at the back, the part that bulges out. And what about now? Your reflection is the right way up, but it's also kind of smaller, and you can see more of the room around you. This one simple object, a spoon, perfectly shows the two basic types of curved surfaces we're going to explore, the inward curve and the outward curve. Each one plays with light in a totally different way, and that's why you get two completely different images. So let's start to break this down properly, starting with mirrors. We're going to use what we just saw with our spoon to classify them. Really, understanding the difference between these two types of mirrors is the first big step to solving Mina's funhouse mystery. The official term for these things is spherical mirrors. Now, I know that sounds a little complicated, but the idea behind it is super simple. Just imagine a giant, hollow glass ball, and the whole thing is a perfect mirror. Now, if you just sliced a piece off of that ball, that curved section you're holding, that's a spherical mirror. The reflecting surface is literally a piece of a sphere. That's why the curve is so perfect and predictable. All right, this table here really puts it all together for us. So we have two types. First, the concave mirror. Its surface curves inward, like a little cave. Think the inside of your spoon. The second type is the convex mirror. This one bulges outward, towards you. That's the back of the spoon. Now, here is the most important part of this whole explainer, the big idea. A concave mirror brings light rays together, while a convex mirror spreads them apart. Let's really see what that means. Take a close look at this diagram. See those straight yellow lines? Let's imagine those are parallel rays of light coming from something far away, like the sun. Now watch what happens when they hit the surface of that concave mirror. Because of that inward curve, every single ray gets reflected inward, and they all head toward one single spot. They're forced to meet up. The scientific word for this is converge. This ability to collect light and focus it is the special power of a concave mirror. It's like a whole team of people all passing a ball to the exact same spot. And now, let's look at the complete opposite. We've got the same parallel rays of light, but this time they're hitting a convex mirror. See the difference? Because the surface bulges out, each ray hits at a different angle and gets reflected away from all the others. The light rays get scattered and spread apart. They diverge. See how they look like they're spreading out from some point behind the mirror? That scattering effect is what convex mirrors are all about. So here's the bottom line. Everything we've seen so far, the upside-down reflection, the giant face, the tiny image, it all comes down to this one simple difference. Does the surface gather light, or does it scatter light? Converging versus diverging. And this simple idea isn't just for funhouse mirrors. It's used to create some of the most important technology we rely on every single day. Let's think about a flashlight or a torch. Inside, there's a tiny bulb that sends light out in all directions. Without anything else, you just get a weak, dim glow. But look at that shiny, curved bowl right behind the bulb. That's a concave mirror. What it does is capture all that scattered light and use its converging power to shoot it forward as a strong, focused beam. It turns a faint little glow into a powerful tool. Here's another cool use for convergence. You know when a dentist needs to get a really good look at one of your teeth? They use that little mirror on a stick. Well, that's a concave mirror. When they hold it close to your tooth, the way the light rays converge creates a magnified image. It makes the tooth look way bigger than it is so they can spot tiny things that would be impossible to see with just their eyes. Okay, let's switch gears to the opposite effect, divergence. Think about the side mirror on a car. It bulges outward, right? It's a convex mirror. And there's a huge safety reason for that. By spreading the light out, the mirror can show you a much wider view of what's behind you than a normal flat mirror could. It helps get rid of your blind spot. But there's a trade-off. To fit that wider view into the mirror, everything in it has to look smaller. And that is exactly why they have that warning printed on them. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Your brain sees a tiny car and thinks it's far away, but really it could be right next to you. I'm sure you've seen these big dome-shaped mirrors up in the corners of stores or maybe at a tricky intersection. These are also convex mirrors, and they're used for the exact same reason as a car mirror, to get a wide-angle view. That diverging effect lets a security guard sit at one desk and see down multiple aisles all at once. The goal isn't to see things up close, it's to see as much area as possible. So, we've seen that these curves can make light either converge or diverge. But that kind of brings up a question, doesn't it? How does the light know what to do? Well, the answer is it doesn't. Light is just following a very simple, very predictable rule of nature. And this one rule works every single time light bounces off any surface, whether it's flat, curved, or even bumpy. These are the two basic laws of reflection. Now, the second one just means that the light ray bounces in a predictable way. It doesn't just fly off in some random direction. But that first law, that's the golden rule for us today. It's the key that unlocks everything. The angle that a ray of light hits a surface, we call that the angle of incidence, is exactly equal to the angle that it leaves that surface, the angle of reflection. And this picture shows it all perfectly. Let's break it down. The incoming ray is the incident ray. The outgoing one is the reflected ray. Now see that dashed line? That's called the normal. It's just a line drawn at a perfect 90-degree angle to the surface, right at the point where the light hits. The law simply says that angle I will always be equal to angle R. So on a curved surface, that normal line is pointing in a slightly different direction at every single spot. That means that even though each little light ray is just following this simple angle in equals angle out rule, the curve of the mirror makes all those reflected rays either point inward to converge or outward to diverge. That's it. That's the whole secret. All right, let's shift gears a bit. So far, we've only been talking about mirrors, which reflect light. They bounce it off. But what about things that let light pass through them, like glass? Well, these are called lenses, and as we're about to see, they follow some very familiar rules. And guess what? Just like with mirrors, there are two basic types of lenses. A convex lens is fatter in the middle and thinner at the edges. A concave lens is the opposite. It's thinner in the middle and thicker at the edges. Now look at that bottom row. A convex lens converges light, and a concave lens diverges light. Does that sound familiar? It should. The ideas of gathering and scattering light work for lenses too. Here we can see a convex lens doing its thing. As those parallel rays of light pass through it, the curved shape of the glass bends the light inward, forcing all the rays to meet at a single point on the other side. So, a convex lens, which bulges outward, does the same job as a concave mirror, which curves inward. They're both tools for converging light. And you can probably guess what happens next. The concave lens does the exact opposite. Because it's thinner in the middle, it bends the light rays outward as they pass through, causing them to spread apart, to diverge. So, a concave lens, which curves inward, has the same effect as a convex mirror, which bulges outward. I know the names can seem a little swapped, but just remember the function. Does it converge or does it diverge? That's the key. The most common example of a lens you'll find is a simple magnifying glass. What is it? It's just a convex lens. When you hold it over some small text, you're using its light converging power to create a bigger, virtual image for your eye to see. It's the same idea a dentist uses with their mirror, but here we're bending light as it passes through the glass instead of reflecting it. So after all that, mirrors and lenses, reflection and bending light, it all boils down to one beautiful, simple idea. The shape of the surface decides what happens to the light. An inward curve, whether it's on a mirror or a lens, will always bring light rays together. And an outward curve, a bulge, will always spread them apart. That one simple principle explains everything from your upside-down reflection in a spoon to the giant telescopes that look at distant galaxies. And now that you know this secret, this core idea of converging and diverging light, you've basically got a new superpower. You're going to start seeing these principles at work everywhere. You'll spot them in eyeglasses, which use lenses to focus light correctly for your eye. You'll see them in camera lenses, in the headlights of cars, even in a single drop of water, which acts like a tiny little lens. So the question isn't what's happening anymore. The question is, where are you going to spot it happening next?